In this tutorial, we will see how Ajax works. First of all, we will see how non-Ajax web application works. This is a typical scenario in which we have a client and a web server. The client sends a request to the web server, and web server replies with a response. The full page is loaded. Client again makes a request to the web server and waits for the response. The web server sends back the response, and again the full web page is refreshed. Then again a client might send a request to the web server. Once the request is sent, the client will be waiting for the web server to reply. Once the response is received, the full page is again refreshed. This leads to several disadvantages. First and foremost is the amount of data which is transmitted through multiple responses. The whole web page is refreshed again and again. This is also a time-consuming process. We will take the same scenario of a client and a web server communication. The client sends a request to the web server replies back with a response. For the first response, the full web page is loaded. The client again sends a request back to the server responds back, and only partial web page is refreshed. The client may again send a web request, and once the server responds back, again only a partial web page is refreshed. This saves the amount of data that is transmitted between client and server, as well as saves time. Let us take a practical scenario in a web browser. I am using a Chrome web browser, and on my left side I have a web page, and on my right side I have the inspect element. We will first look at the non-Ajax web application scenario. I have a web page which has 3 select controls. The first one is the state, the next one is the district, and the third one is the village. The process here is that once I select the state, a request is sent to the web server. Web server responds back with the districts of the state and fills up the select input control. And once I select the district, a request is again sent to the web server, and web server replies back with the villages, which fills up the select control of villages. Now, if you see the very first time, the whole web page is loaded. Once I select the state, the districts are loaded. If you observe, the complete web page is reloaded again. And now once I select the district, the response from the web server will again reload the complete web page. This is a non-Ajax way of communicating with the web server. Now let us try to see the Ajax way of communicating with the web server. You can observe that for the very first request, the entire web page loads. Then subsequently, when I select the state, you can observe that only the select control of the district is reloaded. As well as once I select the district, only the select control of the web page is reloaded. This is how practically Ajax works.